Jade Morris came home from school with a big smile. She had just passed her college entrance exams and couldn't wait to tell her dad. She held the letter tightly in her hand, feeling proud and excited. For the first time in weeks, things felt right. "Dad, I got in!" she shouted as she stepped through the front door. There was no answer. She walked down the hallway to her bedroom, but something felt strange. Her door was half open, and inside it looked different. Her posters were gone, her books, her clothes, even her lamp, missing. There were boxes stacked in the corner, and a pink suitcase sat on the bed. "What's going on?" she whispered. Just then, a girl stepped out of the bathroom, drying her hands on a towel. She looked about Jade's age. "Oh, you must be Jade," the girl said, smiling. "I'm Alana." Your cousin Jade stared. "Why are you in my room?" Alana paused. "Your dad said I could stay here. He said this is my room now." Jade laughed, thinking it was a joke, but no one else laughed. She ran to the living room, heart pounding. Her father, Mr. Morris, sat on the couch, watching the news like nothing was wrong. "Dad," she said, holding the letter up, "I got into college." He looked at the paper and nodded. "That's good." "That's it?" she asked. "You're not even surprised?" He shrugged. "You always were smart. I knew you'd get in." Her hands shook. "And what about my room? Why is Alana in it?" Mr. Morris sighed. "Alana's mother is going through some things. She needed a place to stay. You're barely home these days, and you'll be off to college soon. It just made sense." Jade felt like the ground had cracked beneath her feet. "So you gave away my room without even telling me?" "I didn't think it was a big deal," he said. "You're not a kid anymore. You'll figure it out." Jade stood there, stunned. She felt invisible, like she didn't matter. This was supposed to be her moment, but somehow, she was the outsider in her own home. Alana peeked around the hallway, sensing the tension. "I didn't mean to cause trouble," she said softly. "If there's somewhere else." Jade turned away, not wanting to cry in front of them. "Number, it's fine," she said, her voice flat. She walked back to what used to be her room, now a stranger's space. She sat on the edge of the bed, the college acceptance letter still in her hand, but it didn't feel like a victory anymore. It felt like a loss. Jade Morris was 17 years old and lived with her father, Charles Morris. Her mother had died when she was 6, and since then, it had always been just her and her dad. They weren't rich, but life was simple. Jade thought her dad was her best friend. He was quiet, strict, but kind. He used to make her breakfast, walk her to school when she was younger, and even read her books at night. But all of that had changed. For the past year, her dad had become cold and distant. He stopped talking much, started staying late at work, and barely smiled any. Jade tried to ignore it. She told herself he was just tired or stressed. But deep down, she felt like he didn't care about her the way he used to. Jade was a quiet girl. She didn't go to parties or hang out much. She spent most of her time studying. Her dream was to become an architect. She loved looking at buildings, drawing floor plans, and thinking about spaces where people could feel safe and happy. She had worked hard for years, and finally, she got accepted into a good college. She applied all by herself, and even got a small scholarship. She thought her dad would be proud. She thought he would hug her, or at least smile, but he barely reacted. Jade's life became even more confusing when her cousin Alana moved in. Alana was the daughter of Jade's aunt, her dad's younger sister. They hadn't seen each other in years. Alana came from Florida and had been living with her mum, who was going through some personal problems. Her dad said she needed a place to stay. Without asking, he gave Alana Jade's room. Alana was the complete opposite of Jade. She was loud, confident, always on her phone, and loved to talk. She had long nails, stylish clothes, and a big smile. From the first day, she acted like the house belonged to her. She played music loudly, used Jade's things without asking, and even started calling Jade's dad Uncle Charlie, like they'd known each other forever. Jade didn't understand how her dad could let it happen. When she tried to talk to him, he brushed her off. He told her not to be selfish, that Alana needed support and they should help family. Jade felt like she had disappeared. Her room was no longer hers. Her bed, her books, her photos, gone or packed away. She now slept on the old couch in the living room. It smelled like dust and made her back hurt every morning. But worse than the pain was the silence. No one checked on her. No one asked how she was doing. She wanted to scream, but instead she stayed quiet. That's what she had always done. She kept everything inside. At school, Jade tried to focus. Her teachers noticed something was off. She was quieter, slower, distracted. Her friends asked if she was okay, but she just smiled and said she was tired. She didn't want to talk about what was happening at home. At home, Alana got more comfortable each day. She laughed loudly, played music, cooked without cleaning, and even invited her friends over. Her dad didn't seem to mind. He laughed with Alana, asked her about school, and brought her snacks from the grocery store, something he hadn't done for Jade in a long time. Jade began to wonder, was she the problem? One evening, she came home and found her favorite coffee mug in the trash, broken. Her mum had given it to her before she passed. Jade asked Alana what happened. "Oh, sorry," Alana said with a shrug. "I dropped it by accident. It was ugly anyway." Jade wanted to cry, but she didn't. She went outside, sat on the porch, and stared at the sky. She felt like the air in her chest was heavy, like breathing hurt. Her father didn't even ask what was wrong. She missed her mother. She missed the feeling of being loved. The home that used to feel warm now felt cold and full of noise that didn't include her. Jade started going to the library after school. Sometimes she stayed until it closed. It was quiet there. She could study, think, or just sit alone. She stopped eating dinner at home. She pretended to be busy with schoolwork, but really, she just didn't want to sit at the table with. Her life felt like it was shrinking. All she had left was her college dream, her future apartment, her own space, a place where she could breathe and not feel like a guest. But college was still months away. She had to survive until then. One night, while trying to sleep on the couch, she overheard her dad and Alana laughing in the kitchen. They were watching a movie. Her dad was quoting lines, something he used to do with Jade when she was little. She turned her face into the pillow and let silent tears fall, not because of Alana, but because she felt forgotten by the one person who was supposed to love her the most. She wasn't angry, she was hurt, and she knew she couldn't keep living like that. Something had to change. It was a Saturday morning. Jade had just come back from the library. She had been there all night. Her eyes were tired and her head hurt. She opened the front door quietly, hoping to avoid everyone. But the house was already loud. Music was playing. Alana's voice filled the air. Laughter came from the kitchen. Jade slowly walked in and saw two girls sitting at the table with Alana. They were dressed up, eating breakfast, and laughing like they owned the place. Jade nodded politely and headed to the living room where she kept her bag. But her things were gone. The bag, her books, her folder, all missing. "Where's my stuff?" she asked out loud. "Oh," Alana said. "Dad moved some things around." "Dad?" Jade turned to her father, who was frying eggs. "You moved my things?" Charles didn't look up. "I needed to clean up the space. Your things are in the garage." Jade stood still. "In the garage? There's more room there now," he said, like it didn't matter. "You're always out anyway." Jade couldn't believe it. Her school folders, her laptop, her drawings, dumped in the cold, dusty garage. Without a word, she went outside and opened the garage door. It was dark and messy. Her backpack sat on top of a broken chair. Her notebooks were lying on a paint-stained table. Her laptop was inside a box, half open. She picked it up and saw the screen had a crack. Her hands shook. Her heart pounded. She walked back into the house. "My laptop is broken," she said, standing in the kitchen doorway. Charles finally looked at her. "What?" "It was fine yesterday. Now it's cracked. Maybe it was already like that." Jade blinked. "Number I take care of my stuff." Alana's friends were silent now, watching. "I didn't touch your laptop," Alana said quickly. "Maybe you dropped it." Jade looked at her dad. "She used it. She's the only one who touches my stuff now." Charles raised his voice. "Jade, enough. She said she didn't do anything. You believe her over me." Jade's voice was sharp. "You don't even ask me what happened. You just decide. I'm tired of this attitude," he snapped. "I gave you everything, and now you're acting like a victim." Jade's throat burned. "You gave her my room, my bed, my space, and now you say I'm acting like a victim. She needed help. So did I," she shouted. "You didn't even ask me. You just pushed me out like I didn't matter." Charles slammed the pan down. "Don't raise your voice at me." "Why not?" she said. "You don't listen anyway." Alana's friends started gathering their things. Uncomfortable, Jade took a deep breath, holding back tears. "You broke my trust. You picked her over me. She's family. I'm your daughter." Silence. That one sentence hung in the air like a storm cloud. Alana looked down. Even she seemed unsure now. Jade's hands were shaking. Her voice cracked. "You made me feel like I don't belong here, like I'm just some guest in my own house." Her dad said nothing. Jade looked at Alana. "You can keep the room. You already have everything else." Then she turned around, went to the garage, and started packing what little she had. Clothes, books, a few photos. She put them all into her bag. She didn't know where she would go, but she couldn't stay. As she zipped up the bag, her father came out to the garage. "You're being dramatic," he said. Jade didn't look at him. I'm done waiting for you to care. You think running away will fix this? I'm not running, she said quietly. I'm choosing myself, something you never did. He said nothing. She walked past him, past the kitchen, and out the front door. For the first time in months, she felt awake. The pain was still there, but something had changed. Something inside her had snapped, but not in a bad way, in a strong way. She didn't have a plan yet, but she had herself, and that was a start. Jade spent the night at her friend Maria's house. Maria lived with her older sister in a small apartment. It wasn't fancy, but it was quiet. Jade didn't cry. She felt numb. She just lay on the floor with a pillow and stared at the ceiling. She kept thinking, how did things get this bad? The next morning, Jade didn't go home. She went to school like normal, pretending everything was fine. But inside, she felt empty. Her classmates laughed and joked, but she couldn't focus. Her teacher asked her a question in class, and she didn't even hear it. Her mind was somewhere else. After school, she didn't go to the library. She went to a nearby park instead and sat on a bench with her bag beside her. She pulled out her cracked laptop. It turned on slowly, the screen flashing. Some of her school files were missing. She stared at the screen, feeling her chest tighten. Everything she worked so hard for felt like it was falling apart. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from her father. Come home. We need to talk. Jade stared at it for a while but didn't reply. A few minutes later, another message came, this time from Alana. I'm sorry about the laptop. I didn't mean to break it. Please don't be mad. So she had used it. Jade's hands shook. Her cousin had lied, and her dad had believed her over his own daughter. The pain in her heart turned into something else. Anger. The next few days were harder. Jade stayed with Maria, sleeping on the floor and borrowing her clothes. She started missing assignments. Her teachers noticed her slipping. Her counselor asked if she needed help, but Jade just smiled and said she was managing. At night, she kept thinking about her mum. What would her mum say if she was still here? Would she let this happen? Would she fight for Jade? One afternoon, Maria walked into their shared room holding her phone. Hey, Alana posted something on Instagram. Jade looked up. She said, some people are just jealous because they're not the favorite. Cry harder, sis. Jade's stomach dropped. She took the phone from Maria and saw the post. It had a photo of Alana in Jade's old room, posing on her bed with Jade's old teddy bear on the shelf behind her. The caption read, when they leave and life gets better. Jade felt like she couldn't breathe. It wasn't just a lie. It was cruel. Alana was mocking her, and her dad, he was letting it happen. That night, Jade finally replied to her dad's message. I saw Alana's post. Thanks for making it clear where I stand. She turned off her phone. The next day, her father showed up at her school. He waited outside by the gate. When she saw him, she froze. Jade, we need to talk, he said. I have class, she replied. Please, he said. Just 5 minutes. They sat on a bench under a tree. He looked tired, older, but Jade didn't feel sorry for him. I know you're upset, he said. Jade looked away. You think? I didn't mean for things to get this bad, he said. I just wanted to help my sister. At my cost, Jade said. You never asked me how I felt. You gave away my space, my things. You believed her lies. I didn't know about the laptop, he said. She didn't tell me the truth. She lied, and you let her. He went quiet. She's a kid too, he said softly. So am I, Jade snapped. He looked at her, his face full of guilt. I'm sorry, Jade. Sorry doesn't change anything, she said. I needed you, and you weren't there. I'm here now. It's too late. He looked down. What do you want from me? Jade stood up. Nothing. She walked away, her heart heavy. She didn't want revenge. She didn't want to yell anymore. She just wanted peace. She wanted to feel safe, even if that meant building something from scratch. The rest of the week, Jade focused on herself. She talked to her school counselor and asked for help catching up. She spoke to a scholarship advisor and explained her situation. She even started looking at jobs online, anything that could give her some money. Maria's sister helped her apply for a few part-time jobs. You can stay here as long as you need, she said. But I know you want your own place. Jade nodded. I just want a small room, something that's mine. She meant it. The pain of what happened with her dad didn't disappear, but she started to change. She no longer felt powerless. Alana's posts stopped. Maybe her father had spoken to her. Maybe she felt guilty. Jade didn't care. She wasn't waiting for an apology. She was moving on. One Saturday morning, Jade got a message from her school counselor. You've been approved for the emergency housing grant. Come pick up the paperwork. Her heart skipped. She couldn't believe it. This meant she could move into a student apartment near the school, even before college officially started. It would be small, but it would be hers. No more sleeping on the floor. No more waiting for someone to care. She ran to the school and signed the forms. The apartment was just a room with a shared kitchen and bathroom. But when she saw it, she smiled. The walls were bare, the window was small, and the floor creaked a little, but it felt like freedom. She sat on the floor and let out a deep breath. She finally had her own space again. Later that evening, she decided to go back home just once, to get the rest of her things. She didn't want to fight. She just wanted to take her boxes from the garage and leave for good. When she arrived, the front door was open. She stepped inside quietly. Alana's voice came from the hallway. She was on the phone, laughing loudly. Jade walked past her without a word and went straight to the garage. Her boxes were still there, some open, some untouched. She started packing quickly. Suddenly, her dad walked in. "You're here," he said. "Just grabbing the rest of my stuff," she replied. "You don't have to do this," he said. "We can fix things." She shook her head. "There's nothing to fix. I already found a place." He looked surprised. "You did?" She nodded. "I have a room near the school. It's small, but it's mine. I earned it." He stepped closer. "Jade, I know I messed up. I didn't handle things well." She looked him in the eyes. "You chose her over me. She was in trouble. So was I," she said. "But you didn't see me. You saw her smile and forgot I was breaking inside." "I was scared," he said. "After your mom died, I didn't know how to be enough for you." "You didn't have to be perfect," Jade said. "You just had to be there." He looked down, ashamed. "I found out something," Jade said quietly. "Alana posted online that I was jealous, that life got better after I left. She mocked me." He closed his eyes. "I talked to her about that." "It doesn't matter," Jade said. "I'm not here for revenge. I just came to take what's mine." Suddenly, Alana walked into the garage. She looked different, nervous. "Hey, I didn't know you were here," she said softly. "I'm leaving," Jade replied. "I saw your new place online," Alana said. "It looks nice." Jade didn't answer. "I shouldn't have said those things," Alana continued. "I was angry. I felt like I didn't belong either." Jade looked at her. "But you had everything handed to you. I worked for everything I have, and you still tried to take more." Alana bit her lip. "I was scared. My mum's in rehab. I didn't want to go back there." Jade paused. For the first time, she saw the fear in Alana's eyes. Not anger, not pride, just fear. "I get it," Jade said. "But that doesn't excuse how you treated me." "I'm sorry," Alana whispered. Jade nodded slowly. "Thank you. But I don't need your apology to move on. I just need to leave." Alana stepped back, letting her pass. Her dad stood at the door. "I can drive you," he offered. "No," Jade said. "I'll call a ride. I need to do this alone." As she packed the last box, her dad pulled something out of his pocket. It was an old photo of Jade and her mum. "I kept this in my wallet," he said. "Every day." Jade stared at it. "She would have been proud of you," he said, his voice shaking. Jade took the photo, her fingers brushing against his. "I know. That's why I'm doing this." He stepped aside, letting her walk past. She left the house for the last time, not with anger, but with peace. The ride to her new place was quiet. When she arrived, she set her boxes down, closed the door, and stood in the center of the room. It was hers. It wasn't just a room. It was a beginning, and she had built it on her own. The first night in her new place felt strange for Jade. It was quiet, almost too quiet. She lay on her small bed, looking at the plain ceiling, thinking about everything that had happened. She didn't cry. She didn't feel angry. She just felt calm. For the first time in months, no one was yelling. No one was ignoring her. No one was taking her things. She was alone, but she was at peace. Over the next few days, Jade started putting her life back together. She fixed her cracked laptop using some money she saved from tutoring. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. She caught up on her assignments and told her teachers what had happened. They were kind and gave her extra time. She also got a part-time job at a local bookstore. It didn't pay much, but it was something. She worked after school and on weekends. The place was small, and the owner, Mrs. Turner, treated her with respect. Every time she got a paycheck, she felt proud. She was taking care of herself. Her friend Maria visited often. They would talk, study, and sometimes just sit in silence, watching movies or listening to music. Maria never asked too many questions. She just made Jade feel like she mattered. One evening, while organizing her books, Jade found her old sketchbook. She opened it and flipped through the pages. There were drawings of rooms, houses, buildings she had dreamed of designing. One sketch caught her eye. It was a small apartment, just like the one she was in now. She smiled. She had drawn it a year ago, not knowing it would become her real life. She picked up a pencil and started drawing again. Later that week, her father called. She didn't answer at first, but after a few tries, she finally picked up. "Hey," he said quietly. "Hi," Jade replied. "I've been thinking a lot," he said, "about what you said, about how I failed you." She didn't say anything. "I let my guilt control me," he continued. "I thought I was doing the right thing by helping Alana, but I didn't see how much I was hurting you." Jade took a deep breath. "You didn't listen to me. I know, and I'm sorry. Truly. I miss you, Jade. I needed you," she said softly. "I needed you to see me. I see you now," he said. "I'm proud of you. I know I didn't say it before, but I am." Jade felt a lump in her throat. "I'm doing okay. I can tell," he said. "I saw your photo on the school's website. They posted your college acceptance." Jade smiled a little. "Yeah, I'm going to make it." "I believe you will," he said. "If you ever need help, or just want to talk, I'm here." "Thanks, Dad," she said. "Maybe someday." They ended the call quietly. It wasn't a full repair, but it was something. Weeks passed. Jade settled into her routine. She studied, worked, and planned for college. She kept drawing, filling pages with new ideas. Her teachers started noticing her focus again. One even nominated her for a student design competition. She didn't go back home, but she didn't need to. She had built something new, something stronger. One day, she got a letter in the mail. It was from a local housing group. She had applied for their youth building program, a project where young people help design and build tiny homes for people in need. They had accepted her. She laughed when she read the letter. She held it to her chest and closed her eyes. This was the moment she had been waiting for. Not a grand ending, but a real one. She had left behind a house that no longer felt like home, and now she was helping build homes for others, not out of pain, but out of strength. Jade didn't just survive. She grew, she healed, and she built something better, for herself and for the future. One evening, Jade sat on the floor of her small apartment, a cup of tea in her hands. The window was open, and a soft breeze moved the curtains. It was quiet, peaceful. She looked around the room. There wasn't much, just a bed, a desk, some books, and her sketchpad. But it was enough. Everything here was hers. No one had given it to her. She had worked for it, step by step, on her own. She pulled out her sketchpad and flipped to the first page. There, she drew a simple room, small, clean, with a bed by the window and shelves full of books. She wrote one word at the top, mine. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from her dad. "Hope you're doing well. I'm proud of you. Always." Jade smiled. Not because everything was fixed, but because she knew she was going to be okay. She had learned something important. Home isn't just a place. It's where you feel seen, safe, strong. And even if she had to build it from the ground up, brick by brick, she now knew she could. She closed her sketchpad, sipped her tea, and whispered to herself, "I did it. A quiet victory, but a real one."